Welcome to the book of remembrance of Moses, the book of the law, the tablet of Gabriel, page 568, the 22 parameters of the national characteristic of true Israel. All Israel is not Israel. When set firmly in place, the vision and purpose of the covenant people is protected and preserved. Number one, and Ezekiel called forth an end of dark sentences and all use of the element of wickedness in Israel, weapons, beautifications of women. Ezekiel 39:9 through 15, no weapons in Zion. Ezekiel 16, no beautification of women. And Ezekiel pronounced that there should be no more temple in Israel, no temple worship. And the man dressed in linen with an inkhorn at his side became the standard by which all Israel would be judged. All Israel would be judged by the Nazarenes, the Essenes, Shabbat. And Ezekiel requested of the Father that he would withdraw his spirit altogether from the temple as it represented an invalid identity of Israel. It had a stench, a stank to it, a funk. Verse 5, and Ezekiel called for the removal of the princes of Israel and for the restoration of the councils of communities, the restoration of the councils of communities to set in place once again the sovereignty of the Father to cover Israel. Number 6, and Ezekiel declared as he stood before his altar that there should be no personal ownership of land in Israel. And the Messiah said to Ezekiel that the holiness of the measure of the tabernacle, the temple, the tabernacle, must once again be set in place and restored in Israel. Jeremiah 29:3, Elisha, Lehi in the Book of Mormon, one whom God restored. And Ezekiel realized that evil was allowed to come about in Israel because they had false prophets and prophetess. Israel had false prophets and prophetess. And he asked for all such persons to be removed from having influence in Israel. And Ezekiel called for an end of the satisfaction of possessions in Israel. And Ezekiel called for an end of the satisfaction of possessions in Israel, prosperity preaching. And Ezekiel called in his watch for a prohibition among the covenant people of Israel of any use of the elements of beautification instead of the natural beauty of plainness like our first mother. Number 11, parameter 11. And Ezekiel urgently asks that the true characteristics of Anak seed in his loving kindness be restored in the hearts of the people. The true characteristics of the Father in his loving kindness be restored in the hearts of the people. And Ezekiel proclaimed that the principal sin carrying down from the third and fourth generation be done away with. So every person is responsible for their own sin to the third and fourth generation of them that hate me. In Exodus 20, in the 10 Commandments, and Ezekiel proclaimed that the principle of sin carrying down to the third and fourth generation be done away with, so that every person is responsible for their own sin. And in this way, he restored repentance in Israel. 13. And Ezekiel declared that the true Israel would be gathered to live in the wilderness to prepare the way of the Messiah. And Ezekiel called forth righteous pastors and shepherds in Israel to feed the sheep of the pastors of Aniakasad, Anoki seed. Anoki said. And the Messiah said to Ezekiel, I will raise up for Israel a plant of renown to be their shepherd in the likeness of mine. 16. And Ezekiel called for the full reestablishment once again of the covenant of Abraham. The full reestablishment of the covenant of Abraham. 17. And Ezekiel made a strong plea for the law to be brought back to Israel, to be their inward parts, and give the people new hearts of flesh. Deuteronomy 6:4, it shall be as frontlets. Deuteronomy 6:4 to the end, frontlets between the eyes. 18. And Ezekiel, declared that Israel would be the holy people and purge the land of weapons. Purge the land of weapons. And Ezekiel declared that there would be no Levite leaders in the holy region, in the holy religion in Israel. For the Father said, they shall not come near unto me to do the office of the priest unto me. Parameter number 20. And Ezekiel declared that the Lord loves the stranger. Ezekiel declared that the Lord loves the stranger in giving them an equal inheritance in all things, both in the temporal and the spiritual. 21. And Ezekiel saw the valley of dry bones. Ezekiel saw that all the land of Israel dwells upon. Ezekiel saw that all the land Israel dwells upon is an altar of holiness for the Father. And Ezekiel called for an end of all blood sacrifice 17 times in his writings. No blood sacrifice, no temples made with hands, no temple religion, no beautification of women. Love all people. No temple in Israel. I pray it has been a blessing and a lesson to the reader, the hearer, the seer, the doer. This has been the book of remembrance of Moses from Malachi 3:16. A book of remembrance was written from the beginning. Just like Ezekiel 37:16, Ezekiel 37:19. What is the stick of Joseph in the hand of Ephraim that goes with the Holy Bible? What is the stick of Joseph in the hand of Ephraim that goes with the Holy Bible? I pray that you pray and go to God today.